Greetings everybody, and welcome to another day of landscape photography. I'm just trying to get my head centered in the frame. Oh, gone too far. There we go. So today I'm in a bluebell wood. Again, I'm still in the Lake District National Park. This is a set of woodlands near Grasmere. For all of you keyboard warriors, I'm on a track. I'm not sat on bluebells, standing on bluebells. I am behaving myself very soundly and very honestly. Even though it might look as if I'm sat on a bank of bluebells, I'm actually sat on a path. So what I want to talk to you today is compositional balance. And by that, I mean having objects in your frame such that they help the story, they help the idea, they help the suggestion, rather than just be there at random. I'm going to move to the big camera because I have actually found a scene that works really well in 16:9, which is the video format. So I can actually kind of describe what's going on and try and bring the notion to life. But before I do that, I just want to describe to you what I mean by compositional balance. When I describe compositional balance to my workshop participants, the metaphor that I always use is a bookshelf. So most people, when they have a shelf for their books, they will have their books ordered in some sort of logical fashion. You know, A to Z or mix of subjects or whatever, it doesn't really matter. But in order for those books to be ordered, you need a strong foundation, your shelf, and then you tend to need bookends. You need something at either end to hold all the books upright. And you need those components so that when you scan through your books, they are all, the same way up, and you can look from left to right or right to left, whatever's your fancy, but you have items on that shelf that mean the books are ordered and you can get at them and you can reference them really easily. Compositional balance is exactly the same. It's about having a foundation for your content, something for your content to sit on so it doesn't appear to be just floating around in the air. And then there are items on the left and the right that contain the viewer in the scene that you're looking at, in the scene that's of interest to you. It's holding the books, the items that you want to present to the viewer. It's locking them left and right so that the viewer can then read that scene from left to right or right to left. It doesn't really matter. Now, ideally, in an image, you also want a ceiling, but I don't think a ceiling is as crucial or important as two bookends and a base. Generally, if you have two bookends and a base, you're 95% of the way there. And if you're really struggling for a ceiling, then I've just put I've just darkened the top edge in software, just ever so slightly and ever so subtly, just to prevent the eye from drifting off. But a ceiling isn't crucial. For me, a base and two bookends, they are really crucial. So I'm going to swap to the big camera now and just describe to you what the notion, what the idea was, and the choices that I've made when landing on my final composition. If you are enjoying this video and would like to support my channel, then please click on the thumbs up icon indicated here. To be notified when I upload new content, which will be every 2 weeks, then please consider subscribing. It's free and you can unsubscribe at any time. As well as subscribing, click on the bell icon and select all in order to get these notifications. All updates for new videos appear here on the top right hand side of your YouTube homepage. So this is my scene. Let me just zoom right out. because that kind of gives the game away, doesn't it? The notion that I'm trying to recreate here is the notion of a wave, a sea of bluebells stretching out into the distance. That's my notion. That's what I'm trying to recreate. Now, there's not much I can do about these items that are on the ground. They're there. I suppose I could go and pick them up if I really chose, but do you know what? If I did that, I'd be trampling on these bluebells, and that's just wrong. So, when I found this particular scene, what I then started to look for was items that would contain that notion, but it not be distracting, it not be, what's the word I'm looking for, too contrived. I guess obvious as to what it is that I'm trying to say. So I've got the camera on a tripod, obviously, so I would have done this probably handheld, but what I effectively did was I zoomed in and out, back and forth, looking for items that would contain a scene. Now there I've zoomed right in, and I think that's too much, simply because I've got a strong item here. I have this item which could be a base. It's a little bit messy and distracting, but can you see I've got nothing over here? And I think the danger there is that the viewer would maybe start to read this scene here and maybe led out in the trees and beyond, and there's all this space, and I think there's a danger that the viewer would be led out of the frame that way. They're not contained within what's going on. So let me just zoom back out again. And can you see I've got this lovely strong object here, this tree, that actually points into the frame. That shape is almost echoed by this one. So I'm already starting to get two elements that are pointing me into the frame. And now this item, which when it was larger in the frame actually looked quite distracting, it's now not looking too bad. So let's just keep going out and see where we can go. So now, and I'll just come, I'm going to come out just a little bit more. So now I've got these two trees here acting as my bookends, but now I've kind of introduced all of this mess, and I think the mess, if I can use that phrase, detracts from what it is that I'm actually trying to say. If you can see, I've got quite a large patch of bluebells here, and then it sort of wanders away in the distance, and there's another patch here. When I first got here, I actually had a lovely shaft of light coming through, which actually illuminated the bluebells over here as well, but the sun is on its way down. It's going down behind Helm Crag out to my left, and there's not a lot I can do about that. So that's not working for me. I think that's a little bit distracting. So let's come back in. Let's keep our handy little tree that's pointing us in. Now there, I think that's too much, principally because I think this tree is crowded, and also now I can't see the base of the tree. So remember that suggestion I made about things floating, sort of floating in the frame. I know that's a tree, I know those are the roots of the tree, but if I just come back out a little bit, now I can see the roots of the tree. But now I've got a little bit too much rubbish. So if I come that way a little bit and zoom in, I think I need to come down ever so slightly. There we go. Okay, I think that's a reasonable compromise. So what I've done there is I've pulled back these two bookends, this group of trees. They've got the same amount of space left and right. I have this object at the base of my frame that's helping to anchor the content, and this tree here, the fact that I can see it going down into the ground, that anchors the content as well. I have a distraction over there, but do you know what? I think that's probably clonable. I have a patch of green down here in this corner. That's just helping to anchor that corner in the same way that this one is anchored. And then I've got that sea of bluebells reaching out into the distance. You could even argue that this branch here, that's helping to anchor that corner. And then I've got some green there that's actually helping to anchor that corner. Now, this is a scene that doesn't have a ceiling. I'm hoping that when I process it in software, that sweeping notion will be strong enough that I won't need anything over the top of the frame in order to contain what's going on. Now, I know that that's not the most fantastic bluebell image on the planet, and it's certainly not going to win any awards. That's not the point. The point is just to try and demonstrate a principle that can be useful in your images when you're working on or thinking about your compositions. Right, so I'm going to leave this video there. I hope it's demonstrated the principle clearly. It's quite hard. I mean, I kind of take it for granted because I almost do it without thinking. But when you're first starting out and you're trying to, improve your compositions, it's really quite hard to think about those sorts of things. But, don't give up at the first hurdle, because when you are consciously thinking about a base and a bookend and blah, 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 when you find your first one and you have your scene completely contained, this little light bulb will go on inside your head, and you'll go, yes, got it. I get it now. So it's definitely something worth working on. For me, it's intuitive. I appreciate for those who are just starting on their photographic journey, or maybe looking for ways to improve their composition, it's going to take a little bit more thought. So I hope it's been useful, and I hope it's been constructive. I will make the point, this is just my approach. I'm not suggesting for one moment that this is the only approach or the right approach. It's an approach that works for me, and it gives me images that I look back on and I can tell instantly and remember instantly what was the subject, what was the idea, what was it that I was trying to say. There's just one more thing that I want to share with you, and that's a notion that if you just take care of your corners of your frame, the rest of the image will fall into place. So if you find that bookends and bases don't work, have a go at trying to get your corners contained in order to hold your subject, and see whether that works for you as well. I am going to try and do a video where I concentrate on the corners just to demonstrate that idea, but that's a video for another day. That's it for today. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Please stay safe, please stay well, and until the next one, take good care. Keep exploring with your camera. Bye for now.